Welcome to Beyond the Velvet Rope with Neal Oates Jr., the podcast that takes you on an extraordinary journey into the world of luxury service. Join us as we unlock the secrets, stories, and strategies behind exceptional experiences. From anticipating VIP needs to crafting unforgettable memories, we'll guide you on a path to service excellence in the realm of the affluent. Let's elevate your expertise and redefine the art of world-renowned service. Here's your host, Neal Oates Jr.
Welcome to the Beyond the Velvet Rope podcast. I am your host, Neal Oates Jr., and we have a very special guest, Karen Trivino, here with us today. So, Karen, besides your name, tell us who you are and what you do.
Neal, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. I am Karen Trivino. Like I said, a citizen of the world. I am a real estate broker. That's my profession. I help people with their real estate needs, matchmaker, problem solver. It's part of the job.
Okay, now here's what I know about you that you will not admit yourself, is that you're so much more than just a real estate broker. And I know that as we have these conversations, that's going to come out and become evident to our audience. But you're not only doing what we would think of as traditional real estate with buyer, seller, residential real estate. You've got a lot more involved in that. Would you agree?
I do.
Okay, and so let's dive right in. And so I want to help our audience learn more about Karen. Who is she? What drives her? What motivates her to be the best? And I did not hear you say some key words and some things that you've done, but we'll get to that in a moment. So you mentioned real estate and being a real estate broker. Why real estate, if I may ask? What got you into this thing, into this chaos called real estate?
So it's funny because real estate was not something that was my original plan. I wanted to get into, criminal justice, FBI. That I used to watch CSI and First 48. That was like my shows. I would go to sleep watching them. And then we moved from New York, my mom and I, to Miami, and she bought her house, and then she lost it. And then the agent that was supposed to help her, at that time, back in 2008-9, they were giving some relocation money. They were helping the owners out through short sales. There were options, and we didn't have options. So I made that vow that I was going to always help whoever I was able to in this field, and I started as a broker's assistant when I was like 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And some time has passed. I can't say how much time, Neal, but some time has passed. And thankfully, I've been able to do that.
So, Karen, we believe that from every pain there is a lesson, that there's some good to come out of that. And so hearing, and I'm sure for you watching firsthand your hero, your mom, go through a tough time in life that did impact you, so much so that it changed the industry that you were going into. So what I want to know is, what lesson did you learn just seeing that firsthand? Because I know we hear about it, right? We know people that might be 2 or 3 times removed from us who might have had some hardship. But what did you learn seeing your mom navigate that? And then her, I'm sure, having to reassure her baby, her daughter, we're going to be okay. What's something that you took away from that experience?
I think that 1, my mom is a powerful woman, just like many others. 2, I think that I learned that not everyone is transparent in this business.
Wow, come on.
That's something that we don't talk about often. And she didn't have the education, so she wasn't able to make an informed decision. Mm-hmm. So that's one of those things that I speak to her now and I tell her, Mom, it's okay. You didn't have the information. You didn't have access to the tools and the people that had the will to want to help you and not just get a commission off the transaction. So
absolutely correct. Now, part of going beyond the velvet rope is not just about luxury and I'm going to say affluence in material goods. It's also this thing right here, having an abundance mindset, making sure that we operate above board and that we're better than the rest, if we're going to be honest. You mentioned your mom being a powerful woman. Does your mom see what you do now, because you have become and are continuing to become a powerful woman. WCR, Women's Council of Realtors. You're doing a lot only for women, but minorities, for the disenfranchised. Does mom look at you now and say, baby, you're doing pretty good?
I think that my mom is extremely proud of me. She's had to be mom and dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for her, it's like I have to teach her how to be strong. And maybe the emotion behind it, it's not like you're doing great, you're doing wonderful. She means it in her own way, but
Right?
it's this is life. In life, you have to make sure that you understand that your parents are not always going to be here. I'm proud of you, but don't get comfortable. Keep pushing yourself. But I am very, very proud of you. And we've had conversations. This is a whole other subject, and I understand why it's like that. Based on her upbringing and based on other factors. But she definitely is proud of me. She kind of brags to her friends. I'm like, Mom, you know what? I'm just trying to make sure that the effort and that you made bringing me to this country, you were so young when you had me and you didn't even finish school, and all this effort, all this work put in, 2 jobs, 3 jobs at it sometimes, that I'm delivering, and I'm able to give you a life that you've never even dreamed of. And I'm hopeful that's going to happen in a very near future. I want to retire.
So kudos to you in what you've already accomplished and what you're doing. Now, originally you said when you and your mom moved here from New York, so we're thinking that you are from New York, but now you're telling us that mom came from another country. And so would you mind sharing with us where mom is from?
So we're Colombian, from Colombia.
Okay.
And it's spelled CO. It's not Colombia.
Colombia, come on. So Karen, do this for me. What does it look like for you being Colombian, right? And navigating the challenges, and I'm going to say the experiences that you have to be in the environment and the rooms and the positions that you're in right now. What does that mean to you? Are you doing that? I know you're doing that for yourself because you have a responsibility. I know you're doing that for your mom and family and friends who are watching, but do you ever think about those individuals who might be looking at Karen Trivino as an example of what's possible if they don't give up, if they keep studying, if they refuse to give in to the hardships?
Absolutely. And that's one of my whys, aside from my mom and my family. It's my biggest why is for people that come from where I come from to see that, this girl, made it out of Colombia. Her mom sacrificed and paved the way, moved to New York, and that didn't work out. We moved to Miami, and then my story is of resilience and the fact that, my journey hasn't been easy, but if I can do it, literally anyone can do it. That's what
Now
I
you say that if you put in the work, and you say that if you can do it. First, let's start telling people what you have done. Not only are you successful in real estate, you are working with builder developers, you are doing property management, you're handling all of this stuff that's just so much more than here's a contract, sign it. So what is it that makes you go after what we're going to say potentially these hard choices? Because working with builders, developers, it is not the typical lane, but you love it. In our conversations, your face lights up when you're talking about the process of going down and zoning and permitting and all the stuff that's going to put us to sleep or scare us to death. You're going in full speed ahead. So what is it about you or the that segment and niche of the business that just gets you going so much?
I think that initially, when you think development, when you think construction, zoning, you think that the ideal person to do this is a man. Would you agree?
Hey, so now if I agree with you, I'm not going to be chauvinist now, am I?
All right.
So okay, so that is absolutely what we typically think of. Yes, ma'am.
So I come from very humble beginnings, Neil. The streets where I lived in Colombia with my family home, sometimes they weren't even paved. So to be able to be part of a development of a construction, this is me like, okay, I'm able to put something that doesn't exist yet and then go ahead and bring it to life. It's that like bringing something to life that came out of something that didn't exist. And then you tie in, you're doing this in heels. Like, you're doing this in heels. You have to give me some credit.
Now, hold on. So you talk about that we have to give you credit for doing this. Would you share for those listening or watching this episode here where you also had to learn to give yourself credit for a lot of the accomplishments that you've done so far? Because everything I've heard you say, you come from humble beginnings. You're giving respect, love, honor to mom and family and to that. But at some point, Karen had to put the work in herself. It's not like that silver spoon just came and landed. So, how did you go about it? And is that something that you're continuing to have to do to acknowledge that, yes, I am pretty darn good at this thing?
Yes, I think that I am my biggest critic. And
Mm.
sometimes there's wins that I have that I don't fully take the time to celebrate. Because for me, it's like, okay, I did it next. Okay, I did it next. So something that I'm learning, and this is, every day you're growing, is to take a step back and be like, okay, Karen, this is not just anything, because if it was just anything, then anybody would do it. And to kind of let myself know that I did this and I put in the work and then you got a result out of this. So good for you, Karen. That's what I'm working on, Neil.
And so, in your efforts to work on that, if you were to grade yourself today, how would Karen grade herself on acknowledging her success, doing what she's done with what she's been given, where she's from?
I would give myself 1 through 10.
Well, you can go 1 to 10, A or F. Hey, however you want to do it, it's your world, ma'am, and you're living in your world with heels
I
on.
think B. I think it's a B. I haven't gotten to my A yet. It's a work in progress.
Okay, so the next time we hang out and the next episode we do, we expect to see marked improvement. So Karen's gonna be like, "Man, I got an A or an A plus." So
Hey, I'm an overachiever.
so that's exciting. So talking about some of the things that you must acknowledge and admit and be aware and celebrate. Let's talk about some of those things. UCR, Women's Council of Realtors. What are you doing there?
So I am the Miami-Dade first vice president. So I'm on their board, and we're actually working on a historic trade mission in Dubai. This is the first time that Women's Council is going to Dubai. We're going to have a full Women's Day. That's exciting. Just
What
because.
does that mean to you, ma'am, in Dubai? So what does that mean as a full Women's Day in Dubai? Because we know historically, traditionally, what maybe the culture, the region, or our ideas and perceptions are. So for you to not only be participating in, you're also sort of spearheading this thing. What does that mean? How does that feel?
It feels amazing. I think it's powerful. 30% of Emirati women do real estate. So we're trying to bridge that gap, see what tools we use that we can help them out and vice versa, because we're two cultures learning from each other. And just the fact that we're having a full Women's Day and we have our national president and now the state president just confirmed. She's texting me. She's like, okay, I can't miss out on Dubai now. Everyone's trying to go. So it's a beautiful thing. And this came as an idea that we had when I went with YPN, because I've been going every year. So once
Now,
again,
Karen, let's stop right there because once again, I have to champion the champions that are in my circle. So you say going, but you are not only going to these global conferences and these international events, you are also presenting our position as an authority, as an expert, where we have hundreds and thousands of people in the audience listening to you. So you mentioned the Women's Day in Dubai at the International Property Showcase, but would you also go ahead and tell us what you're going to be doing there? You're not only going to be behind the scenes, ma'am. Give it to us. You are going to be front and center.
right. So I'm speaking, and
Do y'all see how hard it is for me to get Karen to just admit that she's great, to admit that she's amazing and that she is world renowned? Keep going, ma'am.
So we have a full agenda. We're not only going to focus on, Miami, but wellness and, self-care. These are conversations that we don't often speak as women, because there's women that are wives, there's women that are, they have their kids, their moms. So imagine juggling your whole family life, plus, having to attend to your husband, plus having trying to be successful in your real estate career. It's conversations that need to be had. How do we take care of ourselves, because we have our own things going on with our bodies? So these are powerful conversations. We're trying to bring in experienced and even people that have something to say in this stage, and it's exciting, Neil. It's I just to see it come together. I have it all on spreadsheets and we've made calls, but just to kind of see it, and people, I booked my flight, I'm staying here, where you're staying. So it's powerful, and I'm honored to be a part of it. And that's what I promised my members when I was running for vice president that I was going to do. So that's me fulfilling my promise.
Well, here's what I do know. I do know that WCR Miami and the members that they're going to be blessed, and that they are going to continue to receive an abundance of value just from your first vice president role. And then as we progress, right? Because you're an overachiever. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we aren't making any announcements right now, but hey, Karen's going to the top in everything that she does. So you're not only on stages in Dubai, you're also presented at Emocionate, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
right?
Yes, in Spain.
Okay, so in Valencia, Spain, ladies and gentlemen. So when she say that she is a world citizen, that she is making mama proud, that she is showing people what's possible, would you just tell the audience, what does what is the experience like, knowing what's back here, but seeing what you're experiencing now, and then having a glimpse of what's ahead when you're on these international or global platforms and stages? What is that like in Valencia, Spain, or Dubai, and you know that you have people like this right here as you speak?
It's nerve-wracking. I
Okay, she came right out the gate with the honest opinion. Like, that's facts, right?
Let's keep it real. It's nerve-wracking, especially the culture where the emotions, especially in Dubai, the emotions aren't like the emotions that I'm used to. If someone's happy, it's like, okay, we're happy. We're sad, we're sad. But sometimes the emotions like straight blank. I don't know if you're happy or exactly. There you go.
I mean, Karen, just so you know, I'm really enjoying this. Like, this is amazing. This is awesome.
I appreciate you. Well, it's nerve-wracking, but here's the thing. I cannot expect myself to not push myself and be on stage, even if I am nervous, even if I'm shaking. There's times where I've literally like I was shaking, I had to grab onto something, but then I watched myself, and everyone's like, oh, you look fine. I'm like, no, I was dying inside. Like, let's be real. But it is euphoric. It's a mixture of emotions. Like, I'm proud of myself, but then I'm excited, but then I'm like scared, but then all these emotions, then the bad emotions come in. But then I'm like, okay, Karen, you know what? God, I don't know how you're gonna do it, but like, get me on that stage and make sure I don't mess up. And if I do, make it light, please.
So Karen, here, so you just mentioned something. You said that you go back and watch yourself. So in sports, we're watching game film, right? So you're going in and analyzing how you actually performed. And so I know this isn't just when you're on stage. This is after or during a transaction. After you hang up with your client or customer on a phone call, you're going back and replaying, well, how did this interaction go? How could I have been better? Where did that come from? Is that something that you've always done, or is that something that you've learned along the way? And what are the benefits of what we would call that after action review?
So that's something that I learned along the way, dealing with people in this industry. I'm the first one to tell you that I do not like to watch myself on video.
Boy, the camera does not lie, does it?
No, I just don't like to watch myself on video. But then I had to get over it. I'm like, Karen, you have to make sure that if you're doing something wrong for next time, you fix it or whatever it is. And then when it comes to transactions, I'm not perfect, right? There's times where maybe I could have handled things differently, or, I could have done something else, or I could have added, or maybe, reduced, whatever it is. But that's a learning experience for the next transaction. So that's something that I started implementing in my business.
Okay, so now that you've started implementing, and I know you're one of these individuals who are always seeking to get better, right? Learn every day, every transaction, every interaction. So after a few winters, having a few winters under your belt in the real estate industry, what would you do differently? Like knowing what you know now, what would you do differently if you were starting over again?
So I would surround myself with like-minded individuals in like YPN, like Women's Council. So through the Miami Association, I met you through the Miami Association. You
Absolutely.
always have to make sure you show up, right? You show up, you learn, you ask questions. So something that I used to do before, I would just, go to a place and then leave. It's like I came, I left. So then now I'm trying to obviously be more intentional with my time, because that's important, where you distribute your time, who you're speaking to, why you're there, what's the purpose of being there. And that's just something that I wish I would have learned sooner. And also that it's not a competition.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah, it's not a competition. People collaborate with you.
Even in the same marketplace, Karen, because you're talking about, and we know Miami, we've got 60,000 plus members here in the real estate industry just for our association. And you're talking about you would surround yourself with like minded individuals. But is there a concern or worry or doubt or fear about, I don't want to network and hang out with the people that I'm going to be competing with? And if not, why are you comfortable hanging out with some of the best in the industry right in your backyard?
So the way that I see it, and I had an aunt, she would just she had these sayings. In Spanish is something similar like I have my own sauce, you
No,
know?
I want you to say it in Spanish. Come on. You're
No,
not
that
going to say it?
everyone has their own personality, their own way of doing business. And just the fact that we're in the same city or in the same area doesn't mean that we can collaborate on a deal. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be taking clients. If I'm taking your clients, it means you have to step up and do something more. It should be like healthy competition, if any, but collaboration, I've learned that has been very powerful. And I started that with YPN.
So YPN, the Young Professionals Network that Karen is talking about, is so important. It has been transformational, especially in our local association. We see so many of the professionals who begin in the YPN, they move their way up and then eventually make it to state or national leadership. But you also build relationships and
Yes.
you also build these ties so that you get to experience moments that you'll have forever. So you've already done some pretty amazing things in your life and in business. What would you consider your greatest accomplishment so far?
My greatest accomplishment has been letting God take the wheel. I'm like, all right, God, it's not
Wow.
working out the way that I'm doing it. So just, just go ahead and just take the wheel. I'll stop whatever I feel that it's not pleasing you, but it's not working out.
So you're like me. You're like, I'm gonna give it to God after I've already exhausted everything else. I know that ain't the way it's supposed to be, God. I know we're supposed to bring it to you first and leave it, but I think I got it figured out this time. And then Karen and Neil are like, we didn't figure it out. Here you go, God. Take it.
But it is
Okay.
what it is, Neil. That I think that, you know, no one's perfect. We're not perfect, but me personally, having God in your life and having, a source of some type of faith and belief system. And I think it's important because I've made mistakes, but like I feel that God has always been there.
Come
And
on.
it's been, I'm like, God, you've always been there. And I've been away and you're over here knocking on my door. You're a gentleman. And I'm like, not right now, God. I'm doing all of this right now. He goes, okay, but a
I'm
knock
still
again.
here. I'm still here and I'm going to pursue you and I'm going to chase
That's
you down in
that's
your
a
mess and
beautiful
everything
type of
else.
love. And that has been one of my biggest accomplishments in my life.
All right. So you have been absolutely transparent in this. And so I'm not going to ask for the mistake, but I do want to know what's one of the greatest lessons you've learned in life as you've been through this thing and you might have gotten off track. What's a lesson? So you don't have to share where you were when you learned the lesson, but what lessons have you learned in life?
I think that no matter what you're doing in life, you're always going to end up where you're supposed to be. So try your best. Try your best. I mean, there's no manual for life, Neil. Nobody comes and gives you like, here you go. You're born. Here's a manual. This is what you need to do and how you're supposed to how you're
And
supposed to
everything's
do
gonna
it.
go smooth, right?
Exactly.
Doesn't happen.
And
So
people think,
how do you keep going? How do you keep going after messing up? And so you're saying just keep going, but how do you find that?
I mean, I just once again, it's God, it's faith. It's one of those things that I look for guidance through my faith, and I wake up every day even if I'm not feeling my best, because there's days where I'm just like I can't do it today, and I do also give myself some time. But my mom is just like, I think about her and I'm like, she wakes up when she's feeling happy, when she's feeling sad, and then I can hear her. She's like, get up, girl, get up, because you have to. We don't have time. We think we have time.
Yeah, so that goes to one of the sayings that has been echoing in my life lately, that everyone has a yesterday, but not everyone has a tomorrow, right?
Yes.
I think that if we remember that and we're like, okay, we're not guaranteed, and at times we can be arrogant, right? We could be like, oh, I'll get to it tomorrow, and be like,
We don't know
no,
if you
no, no, I have plans. So I do want to ask this question, and I don't know where it's going to go, but I know that you've spoken about your mom. So who is your greatest role model?
she's one of them. My greatest role model is like a mixture of all these women in my life that I've met that have been resilient, that have gone through hell and back, and they just like, they're like, I got this. I went through it. It is. I dealt with it, and this is where I am now with with the tools that I have. Because
Hmm.
we don't all have, you know, the same tools. We're not given the same cards to play in life. But my type of role model are those women and men too. It's not just, I'm not trying to be just women, but men too. People who get up, who keep going, who just come from a place and they don't allow that to define who they're going to be in life.
Great answer. And so, as you all listen to Karen, I do want to pause right here and just ask Karen, if someone wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way for them to either connect with you professionally or to learn more about Karen Trivino?
So my phone number is
Wait,
786.
hold on. Wait. You about to give people your phone number for real? Man, hold on. Karen, see, that's another level of crazy. See, that's how y'all know Karen is out here trying to serve people. She believes in the goodness of the universe. She knows that God is going to protect her. Because she's about to give you all her personal cell phone. And here's why. She's like, I'm a realtor. My number is plastered everywhere in the world already.
I
Karen,
get all
go ahead.
those scam calls too. 786-838-3839. That's my direct line. And then if you're on Instagram or LinkedIn, well, Instagram is Real Estate by Karen Trivino and LinkedIn is Karen Trivino. My website,
Man,
KarenTrivino.com.
one more time with the website.
KarenTrivino.com.
KarenTrivino.com. Easy way to find. So Karen and I, we share the same belief. We're easy to find if you're looking for the best. You're going to see Neal and Karen, or Karen and Neal, depending on which day. We're going to be right up there at the top if you just Google the best. All right. And so now I want to just segue or just pivot just a little bit. If you had one day to spend with anyone and just soak them up, whether it's the spiritual side, the emotions, just holistically, or to just glean knowledge from them, who would you spend a day with?
God.
Oh, that's a good one.
And then I think that I would also love to spend the day with my ancestors, like all of them. I'm like, all right, guys, let's all sit down, gather in the table. Let me know, how it was for you guys.
What
Because
do you think that would be like?
it would be it would be interesting. I mean, have you seen Mulan?
Yes, I have.
I feel like the Colombian Mulan.
Really?
Yeah. I feel
And
like
so you're going to meet with all the
I
spiritual
would love
ancestors and
to. That's something that, it would be an honor just to see. I come from a mixed background. So I'm like Colombian black, Colombian white. So I'm like a mixture. Everyone had their journey. And then just to see like the generations, what they've done, generation after generation after generation, I think I would love to see how their life went and what struggles they dealt with. Just to kind of fast forward, it's like, oh, we're here. Like, we're here
What
doing all of this. You guys,
what are we complaining about, right?
right. And it's like, that's our DNA. I'm
Awesome
carrying their DNA.
answer. Okay, so speaking about your ancestors and looking back and then seeing where we are right now, I asked you previously what would you do different in real estate? But what if Big Karen got or had the opportunity to speak to little Karen at 10 years old? Are you ready for it? What would Big Karen tell 10-year-old little Karen?
I'll tell her that everything's going to be okay, to keep working hard for your dreams, to make sure that I have that ambition in life, because I've always been very ambitious in life. I've always been one of those people that, I had this idea and it was crazy and it sounded crazy, but then somehow, somewhere, I was gonna make it. And I had this great aunt that I'm like, Auntie, I'm gonna be on TV and I'm gonna be doing this and I'm gonna be that and this and that. And she just, she passed away. She never got to see it. But she goes, I know you will. I know you will. Just, have a lot of faith.
How important was what was having her in your life, sitting here saying,
Don't get me
okay,
started.
baby, I
I will
know.
cry. I will
No,
cry.
we don't want you to cry, but I do keep my tissue over here next to me.
She was this powerhouse woman that I would love to see. And a lot of these family members are no longer with us, but she was everything, literally. And I'll just leave it at that because I will cry, Neil.
Okay, I'm not gonna get you there. So we're gonna pivot. So here's what I will tell you: that you are making us, you are making them, you are making everyone proud. What you're doing, what you have done, and what's out ahead of you. So I just want to encourage you now, the same way I do every chance we have to speak, that just keep doing what you do. I mean, when I say that you are a gift, that even though you don't see it all the time, we see it, and you are making a world of a difference for a lot of people. Okay.
Thank you, Neil.
So now we get to have some fun. I've got some rapid fire questions here for you that I did not send to you. And so you just have easy answers. Easy questions, easy answers. You ready, ma'am?
Yes, ready.
Favorite color?
Purple.
That's mine too. Come on, I knew I had good
Really?
company. Favorite food?
I mean, Peruvian Italian.
Do you have a specific dish?
I like lomo saltado and I like the carbonara.
All right. Favorite number?
8.
Superman or Batman?
Batman.
Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny?
Bugs Bunny.
You don't have to answer this one. A nickname that your family calls you.
Carito.
One talent that you don't have that you wish you did.
Speaking all the languages in the world.
So you just trying, that's a hack. You just trying to know everybody business.
Yeah,
You
for
trying
real.
to, but then also you want to serve everyone in their native
Exactly.
tongue.
I would be
Okay.
able to, speak to everyone in their native tongue.
Got you. Understand. One thing you can't live without.
One thing I can't live without. Food. I'm a foodie. Just feed me. Whatever you do, just I need to eat.
So my wife has a saying, she saw it from a meme. Just feed me and tell me I'm pretty. Right? So, hey, so if you're feeding me, we're winning, baby. Favorite movie?
Pretty Woman.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
I love it.
What is it
I
about Pretty
love Julia,
Woman that,
I love Julia Roberts.
okay, so it's Julia Roberts. That's what it is. Favorite book?
Favorite book, The Art of War.
Ooh, Sun Tzu. I love that one. So
Eve.
so what have you implemented in life from the art of war, if I may ask?
I think that you need to look at life like it was a chess game. And like if it was, like if you were going to war, literally, because life is, you wake up every day and it is some type of war, whichever you look,
Mhm.
whether it's a real estate war, something's going on, or in your personal life and something's going on, and like have the tactics in order to defeat your enemy, whatever
There we
that
go.
is.
Absolutely love it. So my final question, before I just let you share anything with the audience that you would like, what do you want said about you when you're no longer here on this earth?
She loved God. She was loved by God. You can see it. You can see it in the work that she's done. She loved people, she helped as many people as she could, and she lived a fulfilled life.
Do you today, on this day as we're recording this podcast episode, do you feel like you're on track to make that a reality? That's exciting, ma'am. So what do you want to share with the audience that I have not asked you so far?
Well, one of the last things that I wanted to share was I got this yesterday.
Man, don't start playing with me,
I got
man.
this yesterday. I don't know if you guys can see it.
We see it.
So you're talking about me, and let's discuss this. Get your book on Amazon. I will start it this weekend. I'm very proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am. Go to Amazon and purchase The Affluent Negroes. The Affluent Negroes, we're doing some good stuff.
Oh, that's all I have to say.
That's it, ma'am.
That's it.
Okay, so Karen, I do want to tell you that this has been an absolute treat. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to want to follow Karen Trivino as she rises to the top. She is going to be the best of the best in everything that she does. She's going to be on platforms in Dubai. Continue to watch out for her in the real estate game, in building and development. She's probably going to be doing things bigger than that on the international scene. And you're going to have the opportunity to say, hey, Neal brought her to us. And then you all can send your commission splits and all of the royalties my way. Karen, it has been an absolute treat. And I'm going to leave the listeners with something that I know that you would agree with. And that is that we love you. God loves you. There's nothing you could do about it. And until the next time we see you or you see us, don't be average, be world renowned.
Thank
Peace.
you. I appreciate you for all you do, Neal.
My
Thank you.
pleasure.